Because really what people can see is above that surface. But what they can't see is the work that's been done. The root system is the know-how, the process, the humility, the way you guys handle more than anybody can see. One step at a time. Right? But the root system's in place. The root system's in place.
It's week number 18 of this National Football League season and time for another edition of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, here inside the Globe Life studio at the Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy. Cowboys finish the season at home. It's a noon kickoff at AT&T Stadium against the Washington Commanders. First off, Happy New Year, Coach.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes, and let's talk about just the approach this week, because you've been on a roll up until last week where you'd won 4 out of your last 5 games. I know you want to finish strong. There's a lot to play for, even though the playoffs are not in sight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we clearly didn't play very well last week. You know, I think you look at the game, we had a good start to the game. You know, really the giveaways for us was the big story. But, you know, we just want to finish strong. We want to finish with a win at home. You know, our home games have not gone great this year, clearly. But we also want to make sure that if we can, you know, get a look at some of our young players, and it's been a really healthy week of practice. And what I'm alluding to is that we've been working everybody. So I think we have 52 to 53 players that possibly will be up on the 48 or the 49. So just trying to maximize this last opportunity, because when you get in this spot, you know, you're just collecting data. I mean, you're collecting as much information as you can. And just, you know, because when we go into these off-season conversations, you know, particularly starting next week, we just want to have, you know, everything that we need on the players and coaches that's available.
You know, everyone's interested in the quarterback situation. Of course, Cooper Rush has now made 8 starts this season. You also have Trey Lance and Will Greer, by the way, on the roster as well. How do you think you'll handle the quarterback situation?
Well, we're preparing them all to play. So, and that's kind of what I'm alluding to is, so, you know, we'll get to the end and make a decision. But, you know, we want to make sure we have a lot of information on our quarterback group, really every position, because, you know, we have a number of contracts that are up, and I think it's important to, you know, when you go into those meetings, that you have as much data as you can.
What have you seen out in practice, and even going back? You got Trey Lance here at the beginning of last season. What's his progress been like behind the scenes?
Oh, he's made a lot of progress. You know, clearly, I think Trey, you know, if you watch his progression going into training camp, and then, you know, we obviously, you know, featured him in the preseason games, and you know, there's a lot of good tape. You know, and this is tape that we try to add on to during the course of the year as his practice reps are added, because you know, you want to make sure your younger players are seeing progress that they're making, you know, from the preseason games, you know, with the video and practice and so forth. So he's made a lot of progress.
I want to ask you about your offensive line. Let's start with Tyler Guyton, and he split reps almost equally with Chuma Edoga last week. What have you seen in Tyler throughout this season?
I mean, he's really another example of what I'm talking about. I think it's important for, you know, Tyler to play a bunch this week. You know how we end up rotating that. We'll see how the week of practice goes. But, you know, young player. It's great that he has the experience that he's you know, achieved this year. But, you know, I'd like to see him really finish with a good outing.
Pro Bowl selections came out this week on offense. Tyler Smith, for the 2nd time in his career, makes the Pro Bowl, and CeeDee Lamb, for the 4th time in his career, is a Pro Bowler.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those 2 guys represent just how you want to play on offense. You know, CeeDee's our feature playmaker. You know, he shows up each and every day, double coverage, plays all the positions in the backfield. You know, in the 1 spot, 2 spot, 3 spot. You know, and Tyler's just, you know, and he's just scratching the surface. I think it's great to see him recognized for the way he's played the last 2 years, but, you know, he's still a young ascending player.
All right, we're just getting started on this edition of the Mike McCarthy Show. Up next, it's David Moore of the Dallas Morning News.
The Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant, was brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. And by Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com.
The Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, continues now here inside the Globe Life studio. Bill Jones, joined by David Moore of the Dallas Morning News, SportsDayDFW.com. Happy New Year, David.
You as well.
All right, it's an interesting week around here when you look at the contract situations, not only for a lot of the players on the team, but the entire coaching staff. You know, David, they now have the feeling of what you have week to week, not knowing whether you're going to be back on this show. But seriously, it is a really amazing time, not really knowing what the future holds.
Well, it is, and Mike McCarthy's message to the players, which applies to him and the coaching staff as well, who are all entering the final year of their contracts, is finish the race. And there's one game left, but now you are going to start to work toward the resolution about what the future will be very quickly once the Washington game is over. Mike McCarthy was talking about this is really the first time in his career he's gone into the final game not knowing where he's going to be coming out of the final game, whether it's going to be here, whether it be someone else, whether it be somewhere else. He talked about, it's interesting, he talked about the affinity he has for this locker room at AT&T Stadium, because before he ever became Cowboys coach, he won a Super Bowl in that locker room with Green Bay back in 2010, and he gets very early to games. And he acknowledged later in the week that while he hasn't allowed himself to think about what's going to happen once this game is over, he's sure sitting in that locker room before the game is going to start sinking in, and he's going to have thoughts of, well, is this it with the Cowboys, or are we going to continue to go forward?
And you look at the players, I think if you look at the roster and the likelihood of the guys that are going to be playing in the game on Sunday, basically about 40% of the roster are in the final year of their contract here.
Yeah, and this is the case when team goals are eliminated. Individual motivation and goals kind of override that, right? Because like you say, 40% of this roster are going to be free agents, whether it's getting a contract here or elsewhere. Their body of work this year factors in on that. So this is another part of your resume that's taking place for some of these players. And a big game, while it doesn't mean anything in the standings, can give a personnel department here or elsewhere going, well, now this guy deserves a look, because not just this game, but look what he did before it.
All right, one other thing I want to ask you about, Zeke Elliott. The news came out earlier in the week. The Cowboys made the decision to release Zeke and give him the opportunity to catch on with a postseason-bound team. Yeah,
This happened later than I would have expected with, just a few days before the final game. But it makes sense, and people say, well, why? What is his market? One, you saw Dalvin Cook in this situation last year. He wound up on Baltimore's team and actually played some in the postseason. And I don't know that Ezekiel Elliott and his agent would have requested this if they didn't have an idea and some back channel discussions that, well, there's some teams looking out there to put another back on their playoff roster, and you would fit the bill.
I feel like they did Zeke a solid.
They did, very much so.
He's put in here. All right, David Moore, we appreciate it. And up next here on the Mike McCarthy Show, Will McClay joins the show, takes a look at some of that firepower on the Washington offense.
This segment was brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. This segment is brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly.
All right, we're getting you set for Cowboys and Commanders noon kickoff, AT&T Stadium. What better man to do it than Will McClay? We're going to break down what Washington does on offense. Of course, they got a Pro Bowl quarterback in Jaden Daniels, likely the Rookie of the Year. But let's get a look into exactly what they're doing on.
Yeah, they've done a great job of incorporating some college themes with it, using his ability, but being creative with it. So here we're going to talk about the zone read, the RPO, all those things that they do. All right, They're going to give you this formation here. Now, you'll see that the running back's in the back. Now he's going to move over and the linebacker's going to shift. And you look where the numbers are. Now they're going to zone read. He's reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. The tight end comes and bluffs him, and then he uses his speed to get outside. That 11th guy the defense has to account for is the quarterback.
And, of course, he's got that running ability, over 900 yards rushing his rookie season. All right, here's another play here.
Okay, now it looks like the same thing, but they trick you a little bit. Now it's unbalanced. The tackle's over here, the tight end's over here, and they have two running backs. Pony, not a fullback, but two running backs. But you're going to get the same action, except for the tight end's going to run up and take the linebacker. It's the same action, but now this is a pass. We're reading the end man on the line of scrimmage for the quick pass.
That's sort of those RPO stuff. That's the rage, both at the college level and now into the NFL. All right, what else you got here from?
All right, empty. They're one of the league leading the top 5 or whatever in empty sets in the pass game out of empty sets. What empty sets do, it spreads the defense out. You have to get rid of the ball quick. But, okay, so we'll look at it right here. They're going to go empty. They're going to see where you go. Now, what they do is a great job. You got 4 over 3 over here and 3 defenders over 2 receivers. So you're getting some kind of combination. He's going to read the combination. All right, he's going to look at the linebacker. All right, where's the linebacker go? Now take the throw where the linebacker leaves from. And that's a quick read on the quarterback.
Wow, it's just so much that's in a rookie quarterback's mind here, but he's well trained for it with all the experience he's got in college. All right, here's another play.
Okay, this is another empty now. All right, he's going to go empty here. All right, they're going to go 3 over 3, 3 over 3, and then the middle linebacker. He's going to be looking, where's the middle linebacker go? He sees him running to number 2. He knows he's got the quick throw to the flat because of air in the defense.
All right, now this was a game against the Eagles just a couple of weeks ago, a game they came from behind and won. It wasn't a great game for Jay Daniels. He had 5 turnovers in that game, but he was able to be effective when it counted.
These are the things that matter, okay? Again, this is empty. It's one of the things that they do. Philly's playing in a certain way. Philly's playing with the wide defensive tackles. Now, this is a pass play, all right? But they're going to play a cover 2. You got 4 rushers. You got 5 protectors and the athletic quarterback. So the numbers are in the offense's favor, and give him a little bit of space. He hurts you with his legs.
And that was a play late in the game, but here's a play from earlier.
And this is where it comes from earlier. Here they go. Again, it's a empty set. Defense spreads out. They got the rushers. But now what Washington does is they're going to run a run play. You talk about the draw, they're going to run the quarterback draw. So it adds an extra protector in there. So you look at the numbers, all right? Now we're just going to pin and pull, and the quarterback's going to follow him. Now you got an athletic quarterback. That's, again, an opportunity to pick up positive yards using that guy.
And one of the big things in there, you got space in there, and so you got angles to make those blocks for those interior offensive linemen. All right, Will McClay, we appreciate it. And the head coach rejoins us when the Mike McCarthy Show continues in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by WinStar World Casino and Resort. Proud to be the casino of the Dallas Cowboys. Please game responsibly.
Welcome back to the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy, as the coach rejoins us. Cowboys and the Washington Commanders. Let's talk a little bit about the Commanders of Coach Dan Quinn, the head coach, and in particular Jaden Daniels. What a rookie season he has had. It's pretty remarkable what he's done this year.
It really has. I mean, as a first-year starter, obviously the gifts that he plays with. But God, I'm just so impressed with his situational offense performance, particularly the 2-minute. You go back to Chicago with the Hail Mary throw, and then just all the way to what he did last week against Atlanta. So just young man having an excellent start to his career.
You look at the young starting quarterbacks, the rookies this year, and of course there were 6 of them that were drafted in the first 12 picks, and kind of gets back to the Trey Lance conversation earlier in the show. The amount of experience that a Jaden Daniels has, that a Bo Nix has, even a Michael Penix in college, to have that and making that transition into the NFL is very important, isn't it?
It's definitely the blueprint that you have to pay attention to in player evaluation, and I think as long as you can play quarterback in college, stay there. I understand the risk, the financial opportunities that are in front of you, but it just serves you so much better. And you can't buy experience, and I think this last draft class is definitely illustrates that.
And those 3 that I mentioned, they're pass attempts in college. Daniels had nearly 1,500 pass attempts. Nick's had over 2,000 pass attempts in college. That's all you need right there.
Yeah, definitely. Rick Austin, he's done articles over the years. I think it's 1,300. He has a number that really illustrates, and I've always been fascinated with that. How that holds up over time, because there's nothing like game experience. You can do 7-on-7 drills and the team drills throughout training camp and in season, but there's nothing like game experience.
All right, let's talk about your defense a little bit. Micah Parsons named to the Pro Bowl for the 4th time in his career. And you look at pressure rates in the National Football League, according to Pro Football Focus, he's 2nd in the league this season.
Yeah, no doubt. I just wish he'd get some more holding calls. My goodness. But yeah, Micah is just, he's a threat every time he puts his hand in the dirt. His ability to, create havoc and really create one-on-ones for his teammates. So just what an incredible start to a great career.
And completing the Pro Bowl class on this team. Let's go to special teams here. And Brandon Aubrey for the 2nd straight year. It's a pretty good rate there. He's been in the league 2 years and he's made 2 Pro Bowls, and Kevontae Turpin as well.
Yeah, you talk about 2 guys, especially, you look at their path here, very similar, but just making an impact on special teams. Our special teams is, in my opinion, one of the best units in the league, clearly, and our specialists, definitely reflect that with everybody being recognized, from a Pro Bowl voting standpoint. But yeah, Brandon's just been exceptional. He's an exceptional talent, and so is Turp. He's so exciting when he gets the ball in his hands.
And really, when you look at Kevontae Turpin, he's on a record-setting pace as far as kickoff returns.
Yeah, no doubt. It's Kevontae. Devin Hester, they're different styles, but I just remember back in the days playing the Bears. You're giving up 100 yards of field position, and he's the same type of weapon for us. Clearly when we play outdoors, I'm always excited because I know he's going to get more opportunities to return it.
And then how have you seen his development on your offense too? You're actually lining him up as a running back at times late in the season.
Yeah, he him and CD are they're those special receivers. They can play out of the backfield. Turp can play the 1, 2, and 3 spot. I think he's clearly one of our better route runners inside. But you on the vertical routes. So he's done an excellent job developing as a receiver.
All right, we wrap up this edition of the Mike McCarthy Show in just a moment.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Cowboys scratch tickets from the Texas Lottery are here. Play today.
Final couple of minutes here of the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy. And Coach, this is when I've always reserved for my unsung star of the week. And I'm going with sort of an unsung star of the season, guy that you battled against for years in the NFC North, and that would be Eric Kendricks in his first year here in Dallas. He's wrapping up 10 seasons in the National Football League now and has 140 tackles, leads your team in tackles. And, I just thought it would be great to mention him as we approach the final game of this season as a guy and what kind of impact he's made in his year here.
Yeah, definitely, Bill. Excellent choice. I think really since the day he arrived here, he's been the quarterback for our defense. And not only, when you look at his numbers and performance, but he's made such a strong impact on his teammates on defense because, him and Mike Zimmer have been together for quite some time. And, if you look at the impact that he's made with Marist and Demo and the young linebackers, so he's been, an excellent addition to our football team.
I look back, I remember when Sean Lee came into the league, he had Keith Brooking next to him. Yeah. Leighton Vander Esch had Sean Lee, and it's passing down. How big is it for young players like a Marist, like a DeMarvion to have someone like that?
There are not too many careers in this league that, where a young player was not impacted by, an incredible veteran. So I think you almost have to have it.
You ready to finish it in the right way on Sunday afternoon against the Commanders?
Absolutely. Yeah, we feel good. We need to go out there and get this win.
All right. Thanks to you, Coach, throughout this season. Thanks to all of you joining us here. And we appreciate you joining us here for the Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant Energy.
Go out there and dominate whoever's in front of you. So just prepare your hardest and go out there and give it your all. So it doesn't matter what the circumstances is, but just understanding that, you got to go out there and you got to perform.
The Mike McCarthy Show, powered by Reliant, is brought to you by Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. Ford, your North Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. And to watch more Dallas Cowboys content on your connected TV, download the Cowboys Now app on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV.